the process you have when you cut a disc, and I did all the disc cutting for Pi for about a year, is what you have to do is onto a completely continuous track, which is from the start to the finish, going round in the circle, obviously. You have then got to put all that information into a groove, and you've got to stop the groove from touching the next door neighbour groove. So the needle's going to waggle, waggle, waggle in your groove, and when it goes hard to the left-hand side, it can't meet something which is on the concentric ring, which is on the outer or inside, that's going hard to the right-hand side, because the two will join together and the thing will jump. So now you have a problem, because with the sort of stuff that Joe was doing, Joe was making, if you like, the equivalent of disco music today, which is just duk, 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 duk. It had a lot of bottom end and a lot of it and bottom end thump and cut in it. So if you had to cut, you had an unwritten law about cutting singles, was you had to make it very loud, because in those days you didn't have the publicity that you have today, where stuff's being played on the radio all the time. To get it across to the public, your vehicle was a jukebox. So your record would be put into a jukebox, into pubs and such like. So they would play a record, and the volume control was fixed. They had a volume control behind the bar, but nobody touched it unless they wanted to get rid of the people, and they'd turn it down and down. So the volume control was fixed. So record A would go on, and it would go, hello, 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 hello. And then record B would go on, and it would go, hello, 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 hello. Which means that record A was heard by more people than record B, obviously. Now Joe's stuff, they got all that bottom end energy in it, a lot of pumping and a lot of difficult waveforms to configure onto a concentric disc. So you had a problem with cutting it. So the way you solved that problem was you turned the volume down, and then it would cut. Easy, easy. Joe's already compressed it, so you can't compress it. It's being compressed until it's this, as I said earlier on, a small cube absolutely bursting in energy. So you've now got the record, you cut it, and it plays. And you put it in a jukebox, doesn't sound anything. It isn't very loud. It isn't very loud for, I could spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes explaining to you why it isn't very loud. So then the record company would say, this isn't good enough, you need to cut it louder. And the disc cutter would say, I can't cut it louder, it's because of the content. And then the record company would say to Joe, we can't cut your stuff loud enough. Do something about it. And Joe would say something completely unprintable, and it would just go around in a triangle like that. Disc cutting engineer, production company, Joe. That's why it was regarded as being uncuttable. It wasn't uncuttable, it just couldn't be cut at that sort of incredible volume.